Hey, welcome back. If you are new here, my name is Tony, and this channel exists for one reason, to make sure that you know about every single dollar you are entitled to. Because let me tell you something, the government is not going to knock on your door and hand you a check. You have to know where to look. And today, we found something big. We are talking about $2,000 stimulus check payments, or as the president himself has been calling them, $2,000 dividend payments that could be headed to roughly 85% of the American population. And now, for the first time, we actually have the numbers to show that the money to pay for this really is there. I'm going to break all of it down, the tariff revenue reports, the math, who qualifies, what still needs to happen, and what you should be doing right now. So do not click away because this one is important. Before we get into the details, let me tell you what we're trying to do here today. My goal, as always, is to make sure you walk away from this video with real, actionable information, not confusing government language, not spin, plain English. And I want to be upfront with you, the way I always am. This is still developing. There is no signed legislation sitting on a desk right now. But what has changed is that a brand new report just dropped showing the tariff revenue tallies, the actual numbers. And for the first time, we can sit down and do the math to see whether this $2,000 payment is actually financially feasible. And the answer? It is closer than most people think. So let's get into it. Okay, so who are we actually talking about here? I want you to listen carefully because this list is long. Are you a mom or dad raising kids on a tight budget? This could apply to you. Are you a veteran who has struggled to access the benefits you were promised? This could apply to you. Are you disabled and living on a fixed income that never seems to stretch far enough? This could apply to you. Are you unemployed or underemployed, doing your absolute best to keep the lights on? This could apply to you. Are you a senior citizen on Social Security, watching grocery prices climb every single week? This could apply to you too. Based on everything we know so far, we would expect the eligibility parameters to look similar to the 2021 stimulus checks, which went out to 85% of the American population, roughly 280 million people. Now, they could tighten up the income thresholds. They could adjust the parameters. We do not have the official eligibility details from the administration yet, but 85% is the working estimate, and that is where the math starts. Here is where things get really interesting. A brand new report was just released, tallying up exactly how much money the United States has been bringing in from tariff revenue, and the numbers are significant. In January 2026 alone, the United States brought in $30.4 billion in tariff revenue. That works out to roughly $1 billion a day. Now, since the beginning of the federal fiscal year, which starts on October 1st, not January, the government has brought in $124 billion in just the first 4 months, October, November, December, January. $124 billion. Now, here's some additional context. In all of 2025, the United States brought in $264 billion in tariff revenue for the year, and the tariffs were not even in place for the entire year. They were only active for roughly 8 or 9 months. And right now, projections show the government is on pace to bring in approximately $360 billion in tariff revenue in 2026 alone. So, if you add those 2 years together, $264 billion in 2025 plus $360 billion in 2026, you get a combined total of approximately $624 billion in tariff revenue between those 2 years, over $500 billion. That is the pot of money we are talking about here. Okay, so now let's talk about what it would actually cost to send out these $2,000 payments, because the most important question is, does the money actually exist? Here's the math. If approximately 280 million people qualify, which is roughly 85% of the U.S. population, and each person receives $2,000, that comes out to approximately $560 billion total.
Now look at what we just said. The government is projected to bring in $624 billion in tariff revenue between 2025 and 2026. Subtract the $560 billion needed for the payments, and you're left with a surplus of $64 billion. The money mathematically covers it, with money left over. But, and this is a big but, there's a catch. That full $624 billion won't be collected until the end of 2026, and there's strong reason to believe the administration wants to distribute these payments well before then, likely sometime in the middle of 2026, which would line up strategically right before the midterm elections. So the question is not really whether the money exists, it's when it will exist, and whether the administration is willing to take on a short-term debt bridge to get it out sooner. Now, could the government borrow against future tariff revenue and distribute the payments mid-year? Technically, yes. It would likely add somewhere in the range of $100 to $200 billion to the national debt temporarily, with the idea that ongoing tariff revenue, running at about $30 billion per month, would eventually offset it. I'm not saying that's a good idea. I'm just telling you it's an option that's absolutely on the table and one that has been discussed.
Now, I have to be honest with you, because that is what we do here. There is a major variable hanging over all of this, and I would be doing you a disservice if I did not mention it. The tariffs themselves are currently being challenged in the courts. The Supreme Court could issue a ruling at any point that strikes down or limits these tariffs. And if that happens, the revenue projections we just talked about collapse significantly. The administration has also signaled that if the tariffs are struck down, they are not planning to refund the tariff duties already collected. That is its own complicated situation. But the point is, if the tariffs go away, so does the primary funding mechanism for these payments. That is a real risk, and you deserve to know it. Okay, I know that was a lot. Some of it exciting, some of it uncertain. So let me give you the good news, because there is plenty. The good news is that the math actually works. For the first time, we are not just talking about a promise or a talking point. We have real revenue numbers, real projections, and a real calculation that shows $2,000 for 85% of Americans is financially achievable within the current tariff framework. That is meaningful. The good news is that this has been confirmed by the president himself multiple times. This is not a rumor. This is not speculation from a random corner of the internet. We have put together a dedicated video on this channel that compiles multiple clips of the president speaking directly about distributing this money to the American people. I want you to go watch that video right after this one. Just scroll back through the channel a couple of days and look for the title about the $2,000 dividend compilation. Watch it for yourself. Hearing it directly is powerful. And the good news is that for most Americans, there is nothing complicated you need to prepare. The most important thing right now is making sure your tax information is current and that the IRS has your correct direct deposit details on file, because that is almost certainly how these payments would be distributed, just like previous stimulus checks. Let's make this simple. Here's your action plan. Step 1. Make sure you have filed your most recent taxes. This is how the government determines eligibility and where to send money. If you have not filed, IRS Free File is available at no cost to anyone earning under $79,000 a year. Step 2. Confirm your direct deposit information is up to date with the IRS. Visit irs.gov and use the Get My Payment portal. Outdated banking information means delayed payments. We saw that happen with previous rounds of stimulus, and we do not want it to happen to you. Step 3. Go watch the companion video on this channel, the compilation of the president's remarks on the $2,000 dividend. It is eye-opening, and it will give you important context on where this stands directly from the source. And Step 4. Bookmark this channel and turn on notifications. This situation is moving. The Supreme Court ruling could come at any time. New proposals could be announced. We're going to be here covering every update as it happens so that you are never the last to know. I want to close by saying something I mean from the bottom of my heart. I know that a lot of you are exhausted. I know you are working incredibly hard and it still does not feel like enough. I know the idea of maybe money coming feels like one more thing to get your hopes up about, only to be disappointed. But here's what I want you to hold on to. The numbers are real. The tariff revenue is real. The math checks out. And the fact that the president has spoken about this publicly, repeatedly, is not nothing. That matters. Nothing is guaranteed. We're going to keep watching this closely, and we're going to keep telling you the truth, the good and the complicated, every single step of the way, because that is what you deserve. Please share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Your mom, your neighbor, your Facebook group, your group chat. Somebody in your life needs this information today. If you are not subscribed yet, hit that button right now. We cover benefits, credits, emergency programs, stimulus updates, and every resource we can find to help you keep more of your money. And when you're done here, go check out that $2,000 dividend compilation video. Just scroll back a couple of days on the channel. You'll want to see it. You've got this. I'm rooting for you. I'll see you in the next one.